If you find yourself not being able to move forward in a particular area of your life, whether it's financially, whether it's with your physical health, or with a relationship, chances are that you or one of your family members might have had a curse or a hex put on them. Now, if what I just said is too much and you can't handle it, definitely turn off the video now. But if you're interested in learning more from a coach's perspective about this taboo subject, then buckle up, put extra protection around yourself, and let's get into the video. So this is Ask a Coach number 2, and this comes from one of my subscribers named Daiquiri Padilla. I believe I'm saying her name correctly. And she said, quote, "Curses and hexes, are they real? Thoughts," end quote. So this is what she wrote. And I thought it was interesting because there's different levels of coaches out there. There's different people that do different things, but I'm only going to speak from my perspective and my experience. And actually, as chance would have it, just yesterday I worked with a client that removed a curse on her family, something she wasn't allowed to move forward in life. And I'm always open as a coach to getting to the root cause. I don't care where the root cause is, I'll go wherever it is. And sometimes it could be past lives for people. Sometimes it could be generationally. Sometimes it could be karmically. There's 3 separate things with 3 different paths, 3 different root causes. So I'm going to give you a couple of different statistics. I'm going to give you 14%, 90%, and 95%. So 14% of my clients, in my experience, over 6,500 clients, say about 14% of them needed some sort of assistance on removing curses or hexes. Now, this is kind of, like I said, a taboo subject. It's something I don't normally talk about because it's not super popular. Some people even resist even talking about it. And for me, I'm the guy that gets paid the big bucks to go in and do what other people don't have the ability, the patience, or level of consciousness to do. And this has been through my experience and my training, so I just want to share a little bit with you from my perspective of what it's like and what I do every day. 90%. So 90% of what is actually being removed is from a person's ancestral lineage. It's either on the mother's side or the father's side, and sometimes it's both, but majority of the time, 98% of the time, it's one side, and it gets down to one event. I'll give you more details in a second. The rest of the 10% is maybe some sort of past lives or some sort of karmic, and I'll explain a little bit about that too. And then the 95%. 95%, in my opinion, of coaches, therapists, and healers do not have the ability or aren't equipped to handle removal of curses or hexes. It's not something that's commonly taught. It's something that a person has to be gifted with and trained, if you ask me. So, what is a curse? Well, my definition of a curse is it's really between 2 people. And it's when one person wrongs another person, or one person does something and the other person feels wronged in some sort of way. That's just kind of a general term. And person A does something to person B curses them. And what's the difference when you see maybe like old videos or cartoons and people like, "I curse you"? Well, maybe it could be like that, but it really has to do with some sort of ego crack, so to speak. Something came through the ego, some divisive energy came through the person, and then they cheated, they stole, they mistreated in some substantial way person B. And then person B, out of hurt, out of it, they're both from dark sides, so to speak. They're both, something happened or somebody did something to somebody else and somebody tried to get revenge in some sort of way. Maybe a physical thing that they did or didn't do, and then they go from like a spiritual way. So the problem with curses is if you don't remove them, they're going to keep moving forward, I would say between lifetimes or generationally. And it's totally okay for people maybe watching this video that might have something coming up with past lives. Maybe they don't believe in them because they've never had any experiences. Or, yeah, I don't believe that generationally. Like, I hear about that, or I hear what you're saying, but I don't believe it. Totally cool. I have no problem with it. When people are ready, they come find me to help remove things that they can't remove. None of the people in their lives have able to have the ability to remove. So for me, I am completely detached of anyone's opinions about it because I'm only sharing my own experiences, which is my own experience is what I do. So that is basically what a curse is. Two people, one person does or doesn't do something, the other person gets hurt and they energetically put some sort of like a curse on them, and it will continue to go as long as until it's healed. So it's indefinite. Then there's something that's called a hex. I'm not going to get into it too much because it's a little bit more divisive than that, what I just said. But a hex is a little bit more sinister, and it's when a person does some sort of ritual or something, which is just more divisive with it. And I'm just gonna go really high level. Again, I told you kind of to like protection or bubble up, and put angels between you and me, between you and everything. It's the best way to do it. So what is the solution from a coach's point of view? Because not all coaches, not all therapists, not all counselors, not all healers can do what I'm saying. So what is the solution, if you ask me, for curses? Well, you have to set right the relationship. Now, I'm just going to tell you what, I'm not going to tell you how. But I am going to tell you, if you or anybody tries to do what I'm explaining without the training, you can inherit what you're trying to clear. So I just really precaution you from that. Just stay back, stay disassociated, just listen. Let's just have a conversation. But it's important for me to share in a very light-filled and very conscious way. So what I'm going to share with you is what to do, not how to do it, I should say. So essentially, a person has to go back to the root cause. It doesn't matter if you originally done it or if it happened to an ancestor. If it's in your lineage, it needs to be cleared. Otherwise, it needs to be addressed. Think about it like a debt. Somebody long time ago in your ancestral lineage, maybe your ancestors, I'm making it a metaphor, didn't pay somebody for something and then somebody cursed you. Well, the debt has to be paid back. Well, you might ask me, Jeremiah, how do you pay back something that you weren't there for? And maybe it was making up numbers in the 1800s and it was wheat or gold that the person didn't pay. How do you do that? Well, you can do that spiritually. Again, I'm going to tell you what, not how. But this is what I do. And this makes an impact. It makes a difference in people's lives. It's like if people have a barge or a dam that they can't go through financially, they can't go through with their health, or they can't go through with relationships, getting to the root cause miraculously, mysteriously removes it, and they actually move forward in life. Very connected, very flowing, and it's happy and healthier. Now, for a hex, that is a little bit different. It's a little bit more detailed and a little bit more complex. And what I mean by that is, for hexes, they need to be removed, they need to be cleaned, they need to be contained and cleared. We're the original energy. That's what, that's not how. The problem is, if you ask me, and I'm going to share with you what happens if a person tries this without the right training. Maybe their ego is doing it or they do it incorrectly. It's like this. I'm going to give you a different metaphor. I hope this makes sense. Here's you, here's a friend. Your friend has $20,000 of debt that they owe. You want to help their friend. Your friend is suffering, struggling. Whatever they do, they can't seem to get rid of the debt. So let us just say you go on their behalf to get rid of their debt, to help them clear their debt. Let us just say you go to court. Make it up in a goofy analogy. Your friend owes $20,000. You go to court on their behalf, try to argue why they shouldn't pay for it, so to speak. And it gets to the final verdict. The judge rules that they don't have to pay the $20,000 anymore, but you do. You inherit their debts. That's kind of a physical or financial metaphor of what it's like energetically. So that's why I will share that I wouldn't recommend people do it, but that's their own karma, that's their own choices. Everybody's got free will. So if a person tries to, with their ego, say I can do it, the issue is they can inherit what they're trying to clear. I don't recommend that. I've seen it time after again. I've seen coaches that try to do it, not with my system or my training, not with my help, of course. I've seen therapists do it. I've seen psychotherapists do it. I've seen teachers do it. I've seen healers do it. And a lot of people intrinsically take on what they're trying to clear because they don't know what they're doing. They think, or the ego jumps in. So it's kind of, to me, serious business. It's why you need to leave it to the professionals that are really technical. Of course, what is the definition of a professional? Someone that exchanges a service or time for money. Just because a person, gets paid for it doesn't mean they're great at it. So the experts or the people that are really skilled at it. So again, circling back to daiquiri, and I thank you for sharing this with me or asking for this. Are they real? I 100% feel it. Yes, they are real, but they're not in the physical world. But they make physical results or physical limitations or physical impacts. They also make psychological or spiritual or financial. So in other videos, I talk about the 4 different worlds. We have a physical world that our body's living in. There's a psychological world that's not in the physical world. Nobody in the history of humanity has ever seen a mind, can prove that we have a mind. We all know we do, experience it. There's a spiritual world, which is like sensations and all the emotions. Emotions do not live in the physical world. They do not live in the psychological world either. And then there's also the universal world, has to do with financial world, wealth, and energy. So there's different worlds. One thing can impact all, or 3, or 2, or 1. So are they real? Yes, but they're non-physical. They exist exclusively in the spiritual world and can affect all 4 worlds. I only see clients that come to me when they're unable to remove them from their self. They're unable to move forward, and the 3 major areas are financially, that's the number 1, physical health, that's number 2, and in relationships, that's number 3. Financially, they're just stuck. They have a ceiling they can't get past, or they're in debt, or they can't make more money. Those are normally the things, or there's a big business merger, they can't sell their company. There's some sort of deeper issues that they come get my help with, and then of course we solve it and move forward. Physical health, always some sort of chronic dis-ease, maybe constant re-injury, certain things that they don't have the ability, they don't have the full life force, there's something draining them, and it's not physically explained. Doctors can't figure it out, nutrition can't figure it out, because a lot of times they can, sometimes they can't. Then they come see me, we've solved that and figured it out. Well, then there's relationships. Why do I keep coming back to this person? Why do I keep getting cheated on relationships? Why do I keep getting abusive relationships, verbally, this? Well, the simple answer is because you're the common denominator. And that's hard to hear for a lot of people. It's hard for people on the personal growth path, the self-mastery, to find out that what you're doing or not doing is causing the results. And if you want different results, you need different actions and behaviors. So common denominator is a really big thing, but it's also the beginning of the end, because if you realize you're the common denominator, then you can make the changes at the deep unconscious root cause level to get you to move forward. So in summary, yes. Do I feel they're real? Yes. Non-physical. Do I feel that there are very few people on the planet that can successfully clear and remove? Yes, absolutely. That's my experience traveling the world, working with a lot of different people in the health and wellness industry, and every single one of us has our strengths. Everyone has our areas of opportunity for improvement. So I hope this helps. I hope you learned something from it. If you have something like this, you can feel free to reach out, and maybe myself or one of my coaches can help, or maybe you just internally start to look for that help. You start to ask for help more, because that is something that we don't do very much as human beings. Ask for help internally or externally. And the more you start to do that, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something from it, and I hope this will help start the seed or completely unlock whatever block might be blocking you right now. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks for watching today.